You are listening to the new Glam Gal podcast, the podcast where style meets confidence. Conquer the frustration of trying on clothes and learn to dress and love the body you are in. There are no size or weight requirements here. I'm your host, Miss J. Join me, won't you? Hey, Glam Gal. Welcome back to the podcast. I want to say happy birthday to the podcast. That's right. Happy birthday to us. The podcast has just turned 1 year old. As promised in a prior episode, I will tell you the story of how the podcast came to be and my 3 takeaways from a full year of podcasting. So I had originally conceived of this podcast while working with my coach mentor, Cara Lowenthal. This was actually in 2017. I created the initial 3 episodes. I had a lot of drama about podcast editing. I had a lot of drama that no one would ever listen to it. I had even more drama that no one would even be helped by it, that they would listen to it and no one would be helped, no lives changed. It would all be a waste of time. And I was so committed to these thoughts that I waited a full year before finally hitting publish on the first 3 podcast episodes. And the only reason I hit publish is thanks to my group of ladies, my Lift ladies. That's what we call ourselves. They're a group of coaches that I meet with once a month and have been meeting once a month for almost, I believe, 5 years now. And they challenged me. They said, if you don't hit publish, you get to choose a punishment. And then someone suggested that the punishment would be that I would have to post a shame post on Instagram explaining that I had not yet hit publish on a podcast that was already created a year prior. And that I was refusing to publish it because I was worried that no one would like it, no one would love it, no one would listen. And because I love a challenge and I sometimes can be more externally motivated than internally motivated, like so many of you, I decided that it was worth it to me to hit publish than to post on Instagram that I was being a big old chicken. So I hit publish. And I kept going. And every week I committed to showing up here, even when I didn't feel like it. And there's a whole episode where I had the flu and I had a fever and I had been very sick to my stomach and still got up and did a very sad sounding morose podcast episode. But I showed up. And we have over 5,500 downloads at the time of recording this episode, which is not quite the year mark yet. It's incredible to me that at least 5,500 times or more, someone hit download and someone listened. And because I coach you all and I hear your comment and feedbacks, I know that this podcast has touched your lives, touched your hearts in a way that makes me want to cry. And it's been beautiful to me because my heart's desire is to just love on all of you in a way that I hope to be loved on and wanted to be loved on for so long myself. So this podcast is really my ongoing love letter to all of you. And if there's anything I can impart in this podcast to all of you, it's that you're seen and you're not alone. And you are so fiercely loved. Even by a complete stranger who may not have met you in person yet, but knows your heart. I see all of you and I think about you all the time. And I pray for you and I just want to help you feel love for yourselves and to feel beautiful and to have breakthroughs and to stop feeling shame and to stop feeling self-hatred and self-loathing and to break free and to become the women that you were purpose to be when you were created or when you landed here, whatever your belief is. I want that so much for all of you. And I heard a sermon recently that resonated with me and kind of hit me upside the head. And the preacher was telling a story about a family who had a very hard life, and there was drugs and there was murders and all sorts of really horrible things that had happened to this family through generations. And finally, one person in this family had broken free from this cycle, and they got, clean. And clean meaning they stopped using drugs and alcohol, and they turned their life around, and they broke free from a cycle of thinking that had kept them ensnared and kept their family ensnared. And then they chose to use again one day, and they passed away. And one of the things that they said to their family members before their passing was, right after they had started to use again, was, I almost got it right. The message was about having an almost life lived, and living an almost life, and living from that place of, I almost felt beautiful. I almost did that thing I always wanted to do. I almost broke free. I almost stopped generations of abuse, self-inflicted or otherwise. I almost did it. I almost changed. And that just, whoa. I don't want to live an almost life. And I almost didn't publish this podcast. And I almost didn't get to meet all of you. I almost didn't get to meet Miss K and Miss S and Miss C and Miss J and so many other clients, Miss R, Miss G. I mean, I almost didn't get to meet all of you and love all of you and watch you learn to love yourselves and watch your transformation and be a guide as you took a journey to transform yourself. I almost didn't get to witness so many of you step out of almost into reality. I almost missed that. I don't want to live an almost life, and I don't want you to live an almost life either. I don't want you to almost have done that course that may have changed your life. I don't want you to almost have signed up for that thing that may have been helpful. I don't want you to almost quit doing something but play grab ass with it for the rest of your life. I don't want you to almost make that phone call and change the dynamic in that relationship. I don't want you to almost do anything. I want you to become that woman that you've always dreamed of, to go do that thing, to go be that girl, to go show others that they can too and that it's okay. I want that so much for all of you. So if I have learned anything in a year of podcasting, it's showing up is like 90% of the battle. And then showing up consistently is like 5% more. And then embracing days where you absolutely don't feel like it, but showing up anyway is the last 5%. Because there's going to be days where you don't feel like it. Trust me, I had days where I didn't feel like it. But then I would have missed out on witnessing the beautiful journey that most of you are on, that a lot of you are on, that I'm on. I would have almost missed out. And I'm so glad I hit publish. That I didn't almost hit publish, that I hit publish. That I showed up. And I want the same for you. 6 months of 2019 are over, but we have 6 months more, my darling glam gal. I love you. I see you. You are not alone, and you don't have to be on your journey. But let's not live an almost life. Let's step out and do that thing. Become that woman. Have that conversation. Let's take this into real life. Who's with me? Let's get it, my darling glam gals. Miss J out.